Hi, this is Michael Smook for U2 Commentaries. Today we're going to talk about How Spirituality Changed My Life, Part 2. Earlier in the day, we spoke to you about this topic for 21 minutes, and I decided that there were some things left unsaid, and so we've decided to finish up this conversation. By the way, today is October 10th, it's a Monday, and it's Columbus Day, so happy Columbus Day. By the way, we're in the year 2016. And now let me pick up what I missed. Before, in the previous part of this conversation, I spoke to you about the fact that that spirituality came to me in a new and surprising way on January 31st, 2014, when I collapsed at work and I had a near-death experience. And to me, an epiphany took place 2 days after I was in hospital. I went from work to ER to intensive care to a hospital bed, and a senior attending physician said, "We saved your life in the emergency room that day." And it was at that point I realized that my life had changed for the better and differently, and my life would never be the same again. And every day I get out of bed and I'm grateful and thankful. And I thank God that I'm alive, and everything has changed, the way I look at things. And what I overlooked and what I wanted to mention to you was that on 13 years after September 11th, on September 11th, 2014, I realized something that I knew and that I had forgotten and that I remembered again. And what I'm talking about was on 13 years after this terrible, horrible day, I was 3.5 blocks away when the planes hit both World Trade Center buildings. I recall that day when the second plane hit and the South Tower imploded, and I remember the CBS News reporter letting out a blood-curdling scream, and I went outside. I crossed over from Broadway to Church Street, and I could see the North Tower burning, and people were covered from head to toe with soot, and I thought World War III had erupted. It was a horrible day. But when I look back, coming into work that day, I came home that evening because two things I had going for me. One, I came into work at 8 o'clock or earlier. Secondly, reading my New York Times on the subway, when the conductor said City Hall, I got off at City Hall. Sometimes, maybe 6-8 times a year, I would miss my stop and I would end up underneath the World Trade Center and have to walk 3 or 4 blocks back to my office. So that was it. I came home that day, I think, possibly because I came into work on time and I got off at my subway stop. So it was something that I knew September 11th, but it was something that I forgot about and I didn't remember again until 13 years later because of a near-death experience I had earlier that year and then having to undergo open-heart surgery. Now with that said, let me get to the conclusion. There's something I missed. I think that having survived near-death experiences and found a measure of enhanced spirituality in my life, the lessons learned, I mentioned that there were 5 daily affirmations which I tell myself, and I mentioned only 4 of them in the previous video. So let me repeat again and add what I missed. The first 2 affirmations are talk less, listen more, ask thoughtful questions. The second affirmation is stay focused, remain calm, retain your sense of humor. And so basically what's that about is listening is a much underestimated communication skill. And even deeper, what I learned is it's far more important in any conversation I have with anyone that I walk away, that the people I'm speaking to, they don't have to know that I'm funny, smart, or right in any conversation or argument. It's far more important that I walk away from any communication, any conversation with a family member, with a best friend, with a coworker, with somebody I just meet. It's far more important that the person I walk away from understands that that I'm listening to them, I understand what they're saying and what they might be feeling, and they feel they've been respected, and we walk away from that conversation, and they walk away knowing that. So that's very important. The third daily affirmation is it's very important to walk around with an equal balance of humility and confidence. Nobody likes someone who's a braggart, and nobody likes someone who is negative and overly depressed. Although I have empathy for people who are depressed, people want the right balance between confidence and humility. So the fourth daily affirmation is, if you can't modify someone's behavior, adjust your perspective and the world changes underneath your feet. I'm human like everybody else. Things tick me off all the time, and it's very important in work and in my personal life that basically I pull myself out of a conversation and I figure out what's really bothering me, what's really angering me, and if I understand that it's not the other person's problem, it's if I change my perspective and make an adjustment, I have a better chance of having a better conversation with that person. So that's the one thing that I forgot previously, but I felt it was really important to add this to part 2 of this conversation. Now, part number 5 of my daily affirmation is, if you forget affirmations 1 through 4, go back to 1 and start again. So that covers just about everything that I missed that I feel compelled to talk to you today. So this is Michael Smook for YouTube Commentaries. It's been a pleasure talking to you about this topic. It's October 10th. It's a Monday, Columbus Day, 2016. Until next time, goodbye and good luck.